All right, so we're taking a look at Desmos day 2, or it'll be Desmos with domain and range kind of at the top. And really what the purpose is here is just to look at some graphs and cut off certain parts that we don't want, okay? So we'll kind of get into that in a little bit. We'll learn how to do that. I just want to start off by making the Olympic circles. So thought that'd be kind of cool to do. The Olympic rings is what I should call it. So I start off with giving you actually 2 equations. Remember this negative right here? Remember that negative is going to give us that bottom half of the circle. So I'll show it. I'll type it in here in Desmos, square root 1 minus, and then I like to use parentheses, x squared. There it is right there. You can kind of zoom in if you'd like to. So usually at the home button, it's 10 by 10. You can zoom in here if you'd like, just so you can see the 5. I know in the picture here, it's kind of all in that 5 range. Okay, so let's start with this. My color is already blue, so I'm going to just start out with the blue one here on the left. Okay, so I'm looking at that my graph here, and that's at 0, 0. That's kind of the center. This center here is at -2, 2. So I need to move this one left 2, up 2. Left 2, up 2. And I also need that second half of it. So again, here's, and actually I'm not even going to deal with the second half yet, but just wanted to note that the negative on the outside like that, that's going to give me that second half, that bottom half. But I'm not going to do it right away. I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to use. So like I said, left 2 and up 2. So if I want to make it go left 2, oh crap, that went right 2. So I'm going to change it to plus, right? And again, it's just playing around with this stuff. If you make that mistake, it's okay. Just fix it quick. Or if you realized, oh, if I go right 2, that's actually the red one here, you could change the color to red and do that. Okay, I'm going to stick with blue, right 2, up 2, just making sure that that plus 2 is on the outside. See how the square root isn't covering it? If I did plus 2 here, that square root bar covers it. I don't want that. I want to go to the outside. I click that arrow to the right. You click to the right. And if you accidentally exit out like that, just hit the undo button. Okay, so go way to the right. That's why I like using the arrow buttons. Plus 2. And there we go. Now to get the second half, I just want to flip it upside down. To quickly do that, I'm going to hit that settings wheel at the top, right there. That duplicate is this middle button there, and it duplicates it. Okay. So I just duplicate it. I arrow over to the left, all the way to the front, and then I make it negative. And there's the bottom. There's my blue circle right there. Okay, now I need to do the same thing for that black circle, for the red circle, the yellow circle, and so on. So to change it, I hold down on that purple, push and hold on the purple thing, and then switch it to black. And I just want it to go up 2, plus 2. There it is. To get the other one, I duplicate it, click out front, make it negative. Okay. For the red one, 1 minus, always starting with that 1 minus x squared, but I want it to make it red. This one needs to go to the right 2. Oh, that went left. Minus 2, that makes it go right 2. And then click to the outside, plus 2. Right 2, up 2, copy it, make it negative out front. And there it is. Okay, and I know I'm doing this fast, so take your time, go slow. The next one, square root 1 minus x squared. I want this to go, well, first I want it to be yellow or orange. I want it to be orange. So I can go left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1. And there it is. And then now we make it negative, settings wheel, duplicate button, and then click out front. Make it negative. Okay, and the last one's the green one. Square root 1 minus parentheses x squared. I want it to be green. And we are going to do to the right 1, and then up 1. Okay. Settings, copy, click out front, make it negative. There it is. Those are my Olympic circles. For this assignment, I would say as long as you're following along and working on Desmos, like I'm okay if you don't write down these equations. I will have you take screenshots later on of the actual practice piece. Okay, so follow along if you want to save these. You can. I'm going to be posting a video soon about how to create an account and save your pictures that you're making. Okay. You can see the save button at the top here. If you click save, now I want to rename it to be Olympic rings. Save. Okay. So that just saved it. Now I already have an account. This is actually my personal account because of course I have a personal account. I'm going to move on. I'm going to get too caught up with talking about how excited I am with Desmos. This next one, you look at this little ice cream cone. So if you want to keep this, like I said, if you saved it, click those 3 bars at the top left, the very top left, and just click new blank graph. Okay. So I need to create a little ice cream cone. That's my goal. And if I did y equals 3 absolute value of x, that ice cream cone is going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, now here it is important that we have that y equals there. We need that because we're actually going to restrict our range. So range is the y coordinates. And maybe I'm going to write that right here. The range is the y, domain is the x. Okay, right here I just want to, it's called restricting the domain. I want to cut it off at 5. And as we can see on my graph, it goes on forever and ever. We want to cut it off at 5. That's where it's cut off right here. Okay. So if we do a bracket, if you go to ABC, and right below that V, there's the squiggly bracket. We want the squiggly bracket, not the square bracket. If I go back to 1, 2, 3, then I go Y less than 5. Okay, and you don't even have to like finish off that squiggly bracket. You can if you want. It actually doesn't let me. So you don't have to, just click below and it does it for you. There it is, it cuts it off at the top. When I say y is less than 5, I only want this stuff that's below 5. Okay, that's one way to cut it off, is using the range. So I give you this equation for the top of the ice cream cone. Okay, so I'm going to type it in. Y equals negative, and like I said, I should do parentheses x squared plus 8. There it is, but I want that to be cut off. I want it to stop at 5. So do I want to keep everything below 5 or above 5? Hopefully you said above. So I do my squiggly bracket. I want everything to be above. So I'm going to do y is greater than 5. Like that. There's my ice cream cone. And I know it's not perfect. You know, if we zoom way in, if we zoom way in, I know that it doesn't match up, but the ice cream kind of goes off to the side, you know? There's a little ice cream cone. Looks delicious, huh? Just want to point with these inequalities here. If you did greater than or equal to with that line underneath it, it doesn't really matter. Okay, for this, it shouldn't matter too much whether you include that or not. So y is greater than 5 for that one, to keep everything that's above 5. That's one way to cut it off on the tops and bottoms. There's ways to kind of cut off the sides too, and I'm going to show that on the next one. Okay. So again, if you want to save this, you can click save. You can title it ice cream cone, or you can just close it out. Get rid of that. Okay. The next one is going to be a house. Okay. We're going to build this house. So the first part here, y equals negative absolute value of x. That's the roof, you see? And we want to make that roof go up. We want to raise the roof. We want it to go up to 6 right there. So we're going to raise the roof up 6. All right, I should zoom in a little. There it is. Okay, but I don't want all of it. Okay, and there's a couple different ways that we can cut this off. I'm going to show 2. First, I'm going to stick with the y coordinate that we dealt with. Okay, so if I look at right here, I want to cut it off. I want to cut everything off below that. I only want to keep the stuff that's above. Well, that's above 3. So if I do my squiggly brackets right down there, I want to keep everything, all my y coordinates, that are greater than 3. And there it is. Okay. Now I do want to show you how we can use the x coordinates for that. Oops. Okay. So if I wanted to use the x coordinates, so I'll use red for that. I'm cutting off all of this, everything to the left and everything to the right. I'm only keeping things that are in between those 2 lines just for this, just looking at that roof, okay? I'm keeping everything that's in between -3 and 3. Okay, so to close off for the x, I do my bracket, but now I start with -3 is less than x is less than 3. See how those arrows all point to the left? They're all pointing towards the left. You should keep those the same. And we can see that we're keeping everything that's in between, and actually like saying it, when I look at this, everything that's in between -3 and 3. That's what that means. If you look at it, it's just everything in between -3 and 3, but we're looking at the x coordinates here, okay? So either way, it's up to you. Sometimes we have to use x's, sometimes we have to use y's. And again, it's just playing around with it. So that's it if you're using the x's. If you wanted to use the y's, which are in green, it was y is greater than 3. And the reason that's 3 is because you're looking at the y coordinate, okay? Looking at your y-axis. I should do +6 there. Okay, there's the roof. Let's go on to the sides. If I do y equals, so these ones here, y equals, let's just pick y equals 0. It's just a horizontal line. Y equals 5. Y equals 10. Right? See how that's moving? So to for the bottom of the house, right there, right here, it's just y equals 0. It's a flat line, but we have to cut it off. Okay, we have to cut off the sides of it. So first it's y equals 0. That's the bottom, and I need to cut it off here and here. Okay, I'm going to erase all of this stuff here just so it's out of the way. Okay. So we want to cut off this bottom line here and here. I have to use x coordinates on this one. Okay, we just have to do it because I can't cut off this like up and down. I have to cut it off on the sides. So I'm going to cut it off at -2 and at 2. Okay, so if I go to my brackets, I only want the stuff that's in between -2 and 2. And there it is. Okay, cut it off at -2 and 2. So I cut off those sides. I only wanted the stuff that's in between those 2 numbers. We can do the same thing for the top of the house here, but that's going to be y equals 4. Y equals 4. There's the top of the house, and I'm going to cut it off at the same spots. So I go to my brackets, -2 less than x less than 2. And there's the top of the house. Okay. I need the sides of the house here now. And the sides of the house here, I should write these down here for you. So y equals 0 and y equals 4. And both are using the x's from -2 less than x less than 2. -2 less than x less than 2. And I know I said screenshots earlier. I would write some of this stuff down just to make sure that you can look back and remember how you're cutting off certain pieces. Okay. But notice these bottom 2 here, those are x equals. Okay, x equals gives us vertical lines or straight up and down lines. X equals 0. See that? That's a straight up and down line, but I don't want x equals 0. I want this left side of the house right here. So that's going to be x equals -2, because I had to go, oops, x equals -2. I need to go over to the left 2 there. X equals -2, but I need to cut it off. I need to cut it off at 4 and at 0, right? I need to cut those off. I need to cut it off up here at 4 and down here at 0. And those are y coordinates. So for this one, I need my brackets, and I need 0, starting at the bottom, less than y, because it's the y coordinates, less than 4. Okay. So I should emphasize this a little bit. When you're cutting off the x, like these ones above, the purple and the black line, we go from left to right. When you cut off the x, you go from left to right. When you cut off the y, you go from bottom to top. Okay. I need one more equation. I need x equals 2. That'll give me the right side of the house, and I'm going to cut off the same parts. So brackets, 0 less than y less than 4. And there it is. There's our beautiful multicolored house. I'm going to write these in, -2 and 2. And y is cut off from 0 less than y less than 4 for both of them. Okay, I know this is getting a little long, and I apologize. But like I said, it's just kind of playing around with it. We'll learn how to cut things off. I'm going to do number 4. If you want to try it on your own first, like, go ahead, give it a shot, or just follow along. I'm going to close out my graphs over here. And then we'll talk about what I'd like you to do for the homework. Okay. So I'll help you with this little smiley face. It looks a little different than the smiley face we made last week. And see here, I'm giving you this 25 minus x squared. Okay. So y equals square root 25 minus parentheses x squared. So I'm kind of giving you this face here. The head, we need to make the other part of the head. So I'm going to duplicate it and make it negative. There's our head. If you want to make it purple to match up, you can make it purple. There it is, it's purple face. Okay, now we have the eyes. And I apologize, it should all be y equals. If we don't have it to be y equals, then it actually doesn't let us cut it off all the time. So those should be y. I thought I changed it. Guess I didn't. So y equals absolute value of x. Oh, you know what? See how that's a v? We want these to be upside down. We should make those upside down, and I got to do a negative out front to make those upside down. Those should all be negative. I'm going to change the color to blue. Actually, I'm going to keep it at red because that makes sense, because these ones here are red on our graph. So negative out front to make them upside down. I know I have to do that for both of them, but now I need to move them. I need to move them left and right. If I look at the right eye, right here is that point that goes right 2, up 3. I know how to go up 3. To go to the right by 2, oh, that made it go left. I always make that little mistake. Now we can keep it there, because that'll be this left eye. And that's okay, we can just stick with that. Let's do that, okay? If I wanted to go right 2, I'm gonna do -2, and we'll get to that. So here, I have that left eye, but I need to cut it off. You know, this person's eyeliner over on Desmos here, that's dripping hard. We gotta get that eyeliner, fix that a little bit. Or mascara, I probably don't even know what I'm talking about. So let's cut this off. We gotta cut it off here and here. Okay, cut it off on those sides. So I only want these x coordinates from -3 to -1. Okay, so let's cut it off. From -3, gotta go to the brackets. -3 less than x less than -1. There it is. Okay, it's perfect. There it is, there's one eye. For the next one, I'm kind of starting it out the same. Y equals negative absolute value of x. Remember, I have to go -2 to make it go to the right by 2, and then +3. I'm going to make it red to match our eye. And now for this one here, we're looking at this right eye. We could cut it off on the sides again from 1 to 3, right? So if you like doing that, go ahead, use the x coordinates. Or we could show the y. We could just cut everything off below the y. Everything that's less than 2, we want to keep everything that's bigger than 2. So if I wanted to cut off for the y, I do bracket. The bottom is at 2. 2 less than y, like that. Okay. Or, like I said, if you wanted to go use the x's, you go from 1, 2, 3. Okay. Either way works. Okay. I personally like using x's, but if you like using y's, you can use y's. Okay. There's the 2 eyes. We need this mouth now. I should follow up and copy these down. So I have a +2, I have a -2, and these are 3s. For the first one, this is the left eye. Maybe you write that down here somewhere. And this was the right eye. And we stopped it at -3 less than x less than 1, -1, 1 less than x less than 3. Those are our little pieces there. You also could have done this or this. It's the same thing. Okay, you could have done one of those for both of those as well. This last one here, y equals x squared. Okay. Well, that mouth moved down to here, so I got to go down 4. I'm going to do it in black because that's the color of the mouth. So this would be -4. I got to type that in Desmos now. -4 on the outside. There's his big smile. And I got to cut it off. Where do I cut it off at? Well, see here, these, I don't know where those numbers are. I can't figure that out. That's too difficult. So I have to use the y coordinate here. That's a little bit easier to look at. That's a -2. And I want everything that's below -2. -2 is the top. Okay. So when I do my little bracket, I have nothing on the bottom. Okay. Maybe if you go down here, this is the bottom here. You could actually say that. -4 is the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go from -4 less than y less than -2. And it cuts it off. You don't need the -4. See? Because it already stops down there. It already stops and goes back up. So you don't need it. But if you want, you could. I like just showing it as everything that's below -2. I want to keep everything below -2. And that's what that we have in brackets. Okay. So I'd say y less than -2. And that's it. There's a little smiley face. Thanks for sticking with me on these. So it's a lot of playing around. A lot of those brackets. I think this is the tough part, is kind of dealing with what we got to cut off. So I have some practice here for you all. Looking at this, I have a little heart. Okay, so looking at where, just take it piece by piece. This is like, pick this as equation 1, equation 2, and equation 3 for your heart. Think about where you're cutting this heart off. Looking at this right here. Okay, you have that line. That's for the y. If you're using y, if you're using x, you're going like this. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways. Why don't you give it a shot, see what you get. I'll post my equations. The equations here, I'll post those in the solution so you can double check. And here's the deal. Just try doing these first two here. Okay, try those two, get the equations, take screenshots, do what you need to do. If you want a little challenge and like doing this, like kind of messing around with it, try out these. Now these birds here, those are absolute values. You don't have to make them exactly like that if you don't want to. Like, you can kind of move them around, make them go where you want to go. and just kind of play around with it. You can make these sine curves a little bit, maybe you want to make it like super big. Play around with that, okay? Maybe you want to put a smiley face in the sun. Play around with that, okay? Same with the mountain ranges. So just, this is kind of like extra if you like doing this, if you have extra practice, extra time, or maybe you want to make a mountain range for your project, then I suggest kind of working on those. But this page here is your homework, okay? Like I said, I'll post the equations so at least you can type them in and see what I did. And don't forget those little brackets to cut things off, okay? Always send me a message. I'd love to do like a little Google Meet group hangout if you need